Hi, Zoe here, welcome back to my channel, and I am back today with layout number 10 in my Stretch That Collection series. I have like no paper left. It's getting to critical stages now. I think I only have one full sheet of 6x6 left after this layout. So yeah, we're getting low. So for this layout I took inspiration from the ephemera pack, and there's a piece that says books, and I am a voracious reader. I love to read. I read probably upwards of 3 novels a week usually. I love to read. That is definitely my thing. So I took inspiration from that, and I thought I would use the book paper and just tell that story, I guess. Just make a little layout explaining my love for reading. So what I've done here is I've cut the sheets of 6x6 into 3x6, and I'm just layering them down approximately 2/3 of the way along. Sorry, not the way along. It will lay 2/3 of the way along the layout. So it's got a little white space on either side, which is slightly offset. So there's more white space on the left hand side than there is on the right, just for a bit of interest really. So I have these 2 photos of me reading. They were actually taken by my husband because he said it looked like I was scowling, and I wasn't. That's just my reading face apparently. So I want to clear something up. I've mentioned the whispering and how I'm trying to amend that, and it's been tricky because I've been ill. I want to make it very, very clear I was not complaining. I was not complaining about people asking me to speak louder or to up the volume. I absolutely prefer to hear if you want me to change things up. I want to know about it. I wasn't complaining. I was merely sort of trying to acknowledge what's been asked of me, but explaining also why it hadn't happened immediately. As it is, I'm feeling much better today, so hopefully the voiceover will be a little bit more legible today. Hopefully. Promising nothing, but hopefully. So yes, there's been some confusion as to whether I was sort of mentioning it in a disparaging sort of way. I absolutely was not. I assure you, I would much prefer if you let me know rather than just, disliking my videos because I don't talk loudly enough or because I move too quick or whatever. I would much rather know so I can change it up, because otherwise what's the point, Anyway, so I've pulled this sort of mustardy yellow cardstock from my stash. It's actually a Simon Says stamp. I'm not sure the colour. It just sort of matched the mustardy tones in the papers. I've backed my photo onto white and also onto this mustardy yellow, and I'm also going to give it a vellum layer. Just to lift it, because the designs behind are quite busy and quite distracting. I wanted to make sure that my photos are the focal point rather than the papers behind them, if that makes sense. So you can see I'm adding a few layers with just this sort of scrap of vellum that I have. I'm not paying any mind to them being really perfect layers or anything like that, just adding for texture, I suppose. Nothing too fancy. You know me. I don't worry too much about these things. So I'm quite happy with that, and it lifts it quite nicely off the layout. So again, I've pulled out that ephemera piece and I'm playing around with it, and that is the piece that initially inspired the layout. But in truth, I don't actually use it as is in the end. It doesn't work for what I have. So I pulled out these thickers. I think they're pink paisley thickers. I think they're from a couple of years ago. But anyway, I've cut out all of that because it's such a big title. You don't want to watch me lay down the whole thing because it took a little while. And I did some of it on my Thickers alignment guide, and I did some of it on some wax paper. just so that I can make sure that it's going to sit where I want it to sit. So I've already committed to the title down the left hand side, and the Cannot Lie I'm going to commit to that once I'm sure of where I want it to sit, because I know I want it to sit across the bottom of my photo there. So I've just added a piece of washi from the booklet, the sticker booklet, just to give me a grounding for it, a little bit of one, because it felt very busy. But as you can see, I've gone ahead and committed to that title now. And again, I did it off camera just so you don't have to watch me sit there and place each individual letter, because who has time for that? I don't know, not me. So again, you know, I've got a bit of a thing about this at the moment. I've done my journaling and cut it into strips. I'm really enjoying adding my journaling like this, mostly because my handwriting looks like somebody dipped a spider in ink and let it loose on the layout, but partially because I just like the way it is designed, and I don't actually mind using my terrible handwriting on layouts, because it's, you know, it's authentic, it's mine. And also that terrible handwriting came about from years of nursing and scrawling on notes really quickly, so I've come about it in a fair way, I think. So I'm just going to go ahead and commit to my journaling, and my journaling is essentially what I mentioned earlier, that I am a voracious reader. I love to read, and I find it a really pleasurable pastime, but I've had to recently commit to rebuying all my books on the Kindle and donating the paper copies, or the majority of the paper copies, because they were just taking over the whole house. And you and I both know I need that for scrap supplies now, so you know, so I've bought, my Kindle account has like thousands and thousands of books now. It's quite epic, and there's always something to read, so I like that. So I'm just playing around with this ephemera, one that started the whole thing, and it is not going to work, which is hugely disappointing. So I decided to cut it in half, actually, so that I can still use it on the layout, but without it being quite so adrift and out of place, and it works quite well there. So I sort of toy with adding the other side elsewhere, but that's not going to work for me. So I'm just going to go through the sticker book and just see if there's anything I can use, and I go for this arrow sticker, which I think says go for it, or something like that. I'm not entirely sure what it says, actually. Now I'm thinking back. So I've pulled these heart stickers from my stash. I think I bought them from Hey Little Magpie here in the UK. I'm pretty sure that's where they came from. So I'm just adding a few, dotting them around the layout in matching colours. Nothing too fancy, just, you know, popping them down where I think they might look good. And I think that's about it, apart from I'm obviously going to add in a little bit of ink splatter, just for the interest. So I'm adding a little in black, Heidi Swap Colour Shine in black, and a teensy tiny bit in gold. I think I'm just shaking the gold. I'm just soaking up some of the black, actually. Oh, that's made that spot a bit bigger, hasn't it? Goodness me. And yeah, just a little bit in gold, and you can see I'm just covering up that big black splodge there, just to tone it down with the gold, which works really well, actually. If you've used a darker colour, if you also use the gold, it does tend to tone it down, which works really well. So that's about it for this layout, is it? Oh no, it isn't. I decided it's looking a bit boring up there, and I'm going to go and rip it. Oh, I know, but it felt like it was too blank over in the right hand corner, so I decided to add just a little splash of colour, just in a little rip design in the top corner there, and then I'm going to replicate it in the bottom left, just so that it's not just one random rip, which would look a little bit strange. So I'm just going to do a really small one down in the bottom left and add the same paper behind. Again, just using a scrap, and it just adds a nice bit of texture to the layout that wasn't there before, in my opinion. It adds a nice bit of interest and stops the design being quite so focused just down that bottom edge. So again, as I keep saying, but clearly I was lying before, that is all I do to this layout. I really like this one. It's fun. It's colourful and it's interesting to look at. So sometimes that's all you want in a layout. Let me know what you think down below, and leave me a thumbs up if you like this video, and I'll be back tomorrow with the next one. See you next time. Bye!